Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something really practical.
Yeah, something lots of people are working on. How to actually get better at English.
Exactly. It often feels like this huge challenge, doesn't it?
It really can. Like a big mountain to climb sometimes.
Which is why we wanted to, spend this deep dive looking at all the great ideas you shared with us. Loads of useful stuff in there. And our goal today really is to find those simple, practical ways to make improving your English feel, well, natural.
Right. And maybe even enjoyable. Not like extra work you have to do.
Yes. Building those skills, that confidence, making steady progress without feeling totally overwhelmed. That's the aim.
And that really seemed to be the thread running through everything, making it part of your life consistently, not just sitting down with a textbook.
It can become second nature, almost.
That's the idea.
Okay, so let's start where a lot of the material did, with something really basic but maybe overlooked when we think about speaking.
Listening.
Listening, exactly.
And what was interesting was how it was framed, not just as, hearing things, but as a really flexible practice.
Yeah, something you can weave into your day pretty easily.
Like when you're commuting or cooking or even just chilling out.
And there was this useful difference they made between passive and active listening. So passive listening, that's kind of just letting the sounds of English flow around you.
Yeah.
Not worrying about catching every single word.
Exactly. Just getting used to the rhythm, the tone, the natural speed. Your brain is actually doing work even then, picking up patterns.
Right. Subconsciously building that familiarity.
Yeah.
But then there's active listening.
And this is where you lean in a bit more.
Yeah, like maybe pausing a podcast or a video and repeating a sentence out loud. Or looking up a word you didn't catch.
Or even paying attention to how someone says something, the emotion in their voice, or a particular sound.
And this is where that advice came in about choosing stuff you actually like.
Oh, definitely. If you're into cooking, listen to English cooking shows or podcasts. If you love movies, watch them in English.
Yeah, because your interest pulls you in, right? Makes the active part feel less like studying.
Totally. It's more engaging.
And here's something I thought was really useful. The idea of repeating audio. Listening to the same short bit again and again.
Yeah, it sounds repetitive, but it's actually super effective.
How so?
Well, the first time you listen, maybe you just get the general idea.
Okay.
The second time, you might notice some specific words or phrases. And the third time, maybe you start noticing like the pronunciation details or how the sentences are put together.
Ah, so each listen reveals a new layer. You catch more detail.
Exactly. It really trains your ear.
Okay, that makes sense. So listening is the foundation. What about building on that? A big theme was consistency habits.
Oh, absolutely. That came through loud and clear. It's not about spending hours and hours in one go.
Right. It's more about the small, regular efforts.
Like 15 or 20 minutes every day. That adds up way more over time than, say, a big 2-hour session once a week.
It's about making English just present. A constant little background hum in your life.
Yeah. And there were some really practical tips for that, like starting your day with a little English.
Like a short podcast or video while you're making breakfast or getting ready.
Yeah, easy to fit in. And another simple one, almost like a game.
The sticky notes.
The sticky notes,
Yeah.
labeling things around your house, chair, table, window, mirror.
You see the word every day in context. It helps it stick.
It really does. Very visual.
Now, this next one, it might feel a little weird at first.
Thinking in English.
Yeah, like narrating your own life inside your head.
It does feel strange initially, but it's powerful. Like when you're cooking.
You think, okay, I'm chopping the carrots now.
Or, this needs a bit more salt.
It's practice forming sentences without any pressure of someone listening.
Exactly. Just getting your brain used to using the language for everyday thoughts.
So it's all about integrating it. If you like reading, maybe start with simpler English articles or even kids' books.
And gradually work your way up. Or music, if you like English songs.
Look up the lyrics. Try singing along.
Yeah. It connects English to things you already enjoy doing.
And setting small goals was mentioned too. Really small, achievable things.
Like maybe aim to learn just 5 new words today.
Oh, or practice pronunciation for 10 minutes.
And maybe just jot it down somewhere. Seeing that little bit of progress day after day is really motivating.
It proves you're moving forward, even if it feels slow sometimes.
Definitely.
Okay, which brings us to the bit that often causes the most anxiety.
Speaking.
Actually speaking the language.
Yeah, the fear of making mistakes is huge for so many learners. It's totally normal.
But the message was really clear on this. You just have to do it.
There's no way around it if you want to improve your speaking. And it's okay not to be perfect.
Mistakes are part of it. They're how you learn, how you adjust.
Absolutely. Opportunities, not failures.
So if talking to other people feels like too big a step right away, what can you do?
Well, back to that idea of talking to yourself.
Right. Just describing what you're doing out loud.
Yeah, making coffee now, or
Yeah.
I need to go to the shop. Simple stuff. It gets you forming sentences.
Low pressure practice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there was shadowing.
Shadowing.
Yeah.
Explain that a bit.
So you listen to a native speaker, maybe from a podcast, a video, whatever,
Okay.
and you try to repeat what they're saying almost at the same time. You copy their rhythm, their tone, how they pronounce things.
Like you're mimicking them closely.
Yeah, like singing along to a song and trying to sound like the singer. It trains your mouth and your ear for the sounds and flow of English.
That sounds like a good exercise. And then eventually, talking to others.
Finding a language partner, maybe? A friend who's also learning, or someone online?
Even just for a few minutes.
Yeah. The goal isn't perfect grammar straight away. It's just getting comfortable actually using the language to communicate.
Building that confidence.
Exactly. And the more you practice, especially in these low-stress ways, the less you think about rules and the more you just talk.
Getting your message across becomes the focus.
Mm-hmm.
And to get that message across well, you need the right words, which leads us to vocabulary.
Yep. The vocabulary gives you the tools, the building blocks.
But not just memorizing lists, right? That seemed to be a key point.
No, definitely not. The emphasis was on learning words in context.
So if you hear or read a new word.
Don't just write down the word itself. Write down the whole sentence you found it in.
So you see how it's actually used.
Exactly. How it fits with other words. Much more useful than just a definition.
And again, connecting it to your interests helps.
Oh, yeah. If you learn words related to your job or your hobbies, you're much more likely to actually use them and remember them.
Makes sense. What about things like idioms, those tricky phrases?
Yeah, they mentioned those.
Yeah.
Things like it's raining cats and dogs instead of just it's raining a lot.
They make you sound more natural, but they can be confusing.
They can. The advice was sort of learn them gradually as you come across them in context. Don't try to memorize huge lists of idioms.
Okay. And synonyms and antonyms. Different words for the same thing, or opposite words.
Also really useful, knowing words like joyful or content instead of just happy all the time.
Makes your English richer, more expressive.
Exactly, and helps you avoid repeating the same words over and over. Same with opposites, knowing sad if you know happy.
And the most practical tip for vocabulary seemed to be use it or lose it.
Pretty much. Try to use a new word soon after you learn it.
Like if you learn the word delicious.
Try to describe your next meal using that word. Talk about a delicious apple or something.
The more you actively use a word,
the better it sticks in your memory. It becomes part of your active vocabulary, not just something you vaguely recognize.
like building a muscle.
Good analogy, yeah.
So all this takes time. Listening, building habits, speaking practice, learning words. It's a process. How do you keep going? Motivation.
Crucial. Because learning a language isn't quick. There will be days when it feels really hard.
Or days you feel like you're stuck, not making any progress.
Totally normal.
Yeah.
Everyone feels that way sometimes.
So the key is finding ways to, push through those moments, keep the engine running.
And those small, achievable goals we talked about really help with that.
Right. Because you can see you are achieving things, even small ones.
And celebrating those small wins. This was highlighted quite a bit.
Like what kind of wins?
Maybe understanding a whole podcast episode without subtitles for the first time.
Okay, yeah.
Or successfully ordering food in English. Or using a new phrase correctly in a conversation.
Acknowledging those moments reminds you that you are getting better.
Exactly. It fuels you to keep going.
And making the practice itself enjoyable is key too, isn't it?
Definitely. If you hate doing it, you're just not going to stick with it long term.
So watching movies you like, reading about topics you find interesting.
Listening to music you enjoy. It shouldn't always feel like a chore.
And that idea of surrounding yourself with English.
Mm-hmm. Changing your phone language. Following English speakers on social media. Those sticky notes again.
It keeps English around you, making it feel more normal, less like a foreign subject.
Yeah, it creates a sort of mini immersion environment.
And ultimately patience. Being patient with yourself.
So important. It's not a race. Progress might feel slow, but every little bit adds up.
Consistency over intensity. Doing something every day.
That seemed to be the core message. Just keep showing up.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The path to improving your English. It's not really about finding some secret trick or just studying grammar rules for hours.
No. It seems to be much more about weaving these simple, consistent practices into your everyday life.
Right, embracing listening, both passive and active.
Building those small, daily habits that fit your routine.
Bravely starting to speak, even if it's just talking to yourself at first.
Learning vocabulary and context. Focusing on words that are useful and interesting to you.
And finding ways to stay motivated, celebrating the small wins, making it enjoyable.
It's about making English feel comfortable, familiar.
Yeah.
A part of your day, not separate from it.
And every little step, every word, every conversation, it all moves you forward.
Closer to feeling more confident, more fluent.
So thinking about this whole approach in integrating English into daily life, making it comfortable, here's a final thought for you.
Yeah.
How might doing that not only change how you speak English,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe even change how you see and interact with the world around you? Something to think about.